Steven, what's the most shocking sports news that you've ever been notified on your phone?
Ooh, you know, might be recency bias, but Arson Judge going to the Giants is probably the one that I think of.
Did you actually believe that one, though?
Well, no, because it said arson, like just Arson Judge to Giants. I was like, what? That I was locked into my phone that day. I had COVID, so if you're asking me what's the most shocking sports news that I've ever gotten to my phone, yeah, I'd say it's that.
I just remember when that news came across and it was John Heyman saying Arson Judge, just the way that it was set up, I was just like, I don't know if I'm buying that one.
Yeah, then after we realized it didn't happen, we're like, I don't believe this.
I can't believe it. No, when that went down, I remember being in the KBR studio and Copes read it on the air, and I was like, Arson Judge, this seems kind of forced or rushed. And then all of our, our salespeople came down like, it's happening, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Also, nothing against John Heyman. He's been known to get things wrong from time to time. So I was like, let's hold off until we get confirmation. And sure enough, about 5 minutes later, not even.
Yeah.
John Heyman was like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt last night. We'll get to it all. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Stephen's sporting some bedhead, even though he claims he just came out of the shower.
No, hang on. No. You know what? Keep going. I'll tell you how my morning went. Going.
We're a little late because congratulations to Stephen. He's part of the he already was in the East Bay, but I guess on my side of the territory now, kind of closer to me now. He just moved to Alameda. He's part of the Meta. Just moved to his brand new apartment. Had to go home and get his microphone and laptop because he forgot. He was racing back home and had a little You say that's your wet head? That's your shower head?
No. So here's how it went. So woke up probably like 8:30, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of looking at my phone trying to digest this trade.
Yeah.
Just trying to comprehend it because I couldn't last night. I was exhausted. We ended up going to In-N-Out, and then we stopped at a nearby Walgreens so we could pick up a 6-pack of beer to celebrate a little bit. And I go into this. Bro,
you're in Alameda now. You need to go to Scolari's.
I know, but we'll get there, Derek. I didn't want to overdo it. And we saw it Walgreens.
You got plenty of time.
We wanted a 6-pack, and so I didn't bring my phone into the store, and then I come out of it, and Jesse's looking at me like, "Did you see it?" What? There's a big trade that just happened in the NBA. I'm like, okay. And then, I was thinking, I don't know.
And of course, Jesse was talking about PJ Tucker to the Jazz.
Yeah, no, she was initially we were getting over the shock of Cody Cece and Mikhail Granlund getting traded from the Sharks to the Stars.
Oh yeah.
But no, he's like, there's a big trade. And then I'm like, what? And my mind went to Kevin Durant, because she kind of hinted that it wasn't going to be someone that I thought it was going to happen. But never would I have thought that the Mavericks would trade Luka, of all people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm processing the trade. And I woke up, took a shower. I was like, all right, I'm kind of ready to go get a little bit of breakfast, and then we'll do the pod, and then we'll go to the apartment, and then we'll do the rest of what we have to do for moving. And I took a shower, Derek. And this is my head out of the shower. And then I took a trip to Walnut Creek, sprinting. Looks great right now. Sprinting, and then came back. So that's what my hair is, people. Someone said I look like Jack Swagger, the wrestler. I think that's the wrestler, right? With his hair.
Not familiar.
I'm with that.
Okay. I mean, it's good to have hair of any variety now, so I'm not one to talk. Yeah. So, dude, I mean, as far as shocking news, I don't know. I don't think I compare this to anything. And I love all the Twitter, the NFL guys, being, if you were going to explain this in NFL terms, and I'm like, you can't. There's nothing. Believe me, I'm an NFL guy, and Believe me, when Trey Hendrickson gets traded this offseason, it will be a huge deal. But nothing compares to this. This is monumental. Like I saw, like what did Adam Schefter say? Like if you traded Joe Burrow for Lamar Jackson, and that's not even it. Like it's the trade's not even. So to trade, like to compare this to NFL terms, it's hard to. And it's not the point. Like the NFL, I will say this as an NFL guy and an NFL frenzy dude, nothing will compare to this. Like we will see trades this offseason, but they'll be like I say, Trey Hendrickson or wide receivers, and those are expected.
I'm trying to think, Derek, of like a quarterback who is like in his prime and is on the cusp. Like, I don't know. What is it, like the Ravens trading Lamar Jackson? Is it the Texans trading CJ Stroud? It
would be a guy that doesn't have a contract yet. So It would be like
right.
Yeah, it would be like, I'm trying to think like somebody like, it'd be like the Niners trading Brock Purdy, or not even like that. It would be
even that though. Like this is even more like Luka's a much more established play. This is like trading Josh Allen after they lost to the Texans in the playoffs or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Rocket New Era says Josh Allen for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's not the point. The point of this is like NBA by itself. This is the only league that would do this type of shit. Like, this is nuts. This is video game stuff.
Yeah.
So last night, I don't mind saying this, was just chilling, had nothing to do. I'll get to it later, but went to the Ricky Henderson Celebration of Life with Rick Tittle and Greg Silver, and came back, had an early night, was just going to watch a movie or something, and went outside, smoked a J, came back and looked at my phone, and I was like, I'm so high that I can't comprehend this right now. Like, this is stupid, right? Like,
this real?
I'm imagining things.
What?
I texted, I think I texted you, I texted Greg Silver, I texted like a bunch of people being like, I'm not just hallucinating right now, right? Like, the fact that it said Luka as part of a trade is insane. Like, I couldn't fathom it. Like, it was just like, what? So, and hearing Mark Spears talk about like this NBA trade deadline is going to be nuts. And I was like, yeah, we hear that all the time. Like, I don't think anything was going to be monumental. Like, besides, the Warriors getting Zach LaVine, which looks like nothing right now. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. So the full trade last night at what, like 9:30, 9:45 last night?
Mm-hmm.
Luka Doncic gets traded to the LA Lakers along with Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris in exchange for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. That's insane. That is absolutely insane when you think about Rudy Gobert being traded for 4 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant on the same level as a Luka Doncic, but 4 first-round picks for him. Mikal Bridges getting traded for 5 first-round picks. This makes absolutely no sense.
Didn't Drew Holiday get a couple of first-round picks, or didn't they get a couple of first-round picks in return?
Yes, and AJ Cruz is right. The Jazz get some picks too. Just focusing on the Lakers and Mavericks side of this whole thing. It's just insane to me. This whole thing's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. I'm kind of in the camp of the hell happened. Something had to have happened. Like, I know there's a bunch of salary cap stuff. They want to stay under the apron, and there's all the first and second apron, yada, yada, yada. But obviously, Luka's been hurt for a lot of this season. He hasn't come back since Christmas Day, right? He hasn't come back.
Which at first I was like, ooh, look at the schedule. I forgot that Luka got hurt, so I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
First home games against the Warriors. Interesting. I was like, nah, that's not going to happen.
So there had to have been a behind-the-scenes deal where they didn't like the direction it was headed. Right now, we're seeing a lot of stuff, though, that Luka was just as surprised as anyone. Like, what happened? What happened? Or is this purely a money thing, or are the Mavs just that incompetent? Like, what are you, saving money because you want to end up moving the team? I mean, that was the whole thing with Mark Cuban when he paired up with Miriam Adelson, who now like is a majority owner of the Mavs. Like they wanted to turn Dallas. He wanted to turn Dallas into like a gambling town, right?
Yeah.
Or not a gambling town, but he wanted to at least bring a casino into it and put an NBA arena there and make it a whole thing. But I don't know if this has anything to do with that, but it feels like if you're going to want to do that, you want the superstar to go along with it. You want the Steph Curry to go in there with Chase Center. You want, the Barry Bonds to be there when you're building Pac Bell Park. Like you need a star. So this move doesn't make sense on a multitude of levels.
It doesn't. I mean, just going through it, like when I first saw the news, I was like, okay, LeBron must have wanted Anthony Davis out for whatever reason.
Right.
And the only way this makes sense is if Maverick Carter and Rich Paul were holding a gun to the Mavericks GM's head and be like, trade us, trade us Luka Doncic. But then you read all the backstory. Like, so Mark Stein last night said that Luka was in line. Basically, the whole expectation was this July to give Luka a 5-year, $345 million Supermax contract extension. And I guess just at the last few weeks, Nico Harrison was like, I don't feel like giving him the contract extension. And yeah, we hear like LeBron was out to dinner and he wasn't expecting this. It just sounds like I know that Luka Doncic just got the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, but it sounds like they were cold on him for whatever reason. And I guess it's because of him not coming into camp in shape and his lack of defense. They just didn't like him going forward as the face of the franchise, which is insane to me. I know that the biggest criticism of him is he complains a lot. He gets a lot of texts. He bitches.
Right.
He doesn't play a lot of defense. You can fix that. You can always fix that. And I think that you can, like you can find ways to improve the team around Luka Doncic. Like he was your biggest name since Dirk. And to me, I just wouldn't have done this. And also like there was time to do this. You didn't have to trade him now. Like why do this in secret? Like apparently, I guess from what was written, Rob Pelinka was approached by Nico Harrison about this a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "What? Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm willing to do this." He's like, "All right, well, yeah, I'd be interested." And they let it simmer for a little while. But like a smart GM, like I don't know Nico Harrison very well. This is the first I'm hearing about him, and I know he traded for PJ Washington last year to get the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, and that was a good move. And then he signed Klay Thompson in the offseason. But this one, a smart GM, a smarter GM, I should say, would have leaked this to Shams or Brian Windhorst and be like, Luka Doncic is on the trade block. And I wanted to get the word out there so everybody knows so we can build up, word of mouth and a bunch of, hype and have other teams start clamoring to get him. To just do a deal alone with the Lakers makes no sense whatsoever. So I think this was horribly done. What you got in return, if I'm going to think of a NFL trade comparison, it's kind of like getting DeAndre Hopkins for whatever it was with the Houston Texans going to the Arizona Cardinals. You just didn't do your due diligence when it came to shopping him around. So yeah, this makes absolutely no sense to me. This is fucking stupid, in my opinion.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But is this going to work? Like the Mavs are stupid for doing this, but is this going to work out for Luka in the long run? Is this the best thing for Luka? Because I know you're paired up with LeBron, but you're clearly the succession plan here. And he's built up something with the Mavs to where they've built the team around him. But the Lakers have constructed their team around LeBron. So now you got to just do it all over. Like I don't know if this is it's the best move for the Mavs. I don't know if it's the best move for Luka. Like I'm seeing a lot of comparisons to, how this is the shock value is to that of, Wayne Gretzky traded from the Oilers to the Kings, aptly called the trade. I don't know, even Babe Ruth going from the Red Sox to the Yankees, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar going from the Lakers to the Bucks, or excuse me, the Bucks to the Lakers. But like this one, it doesn't feel like it would be as impactful as those trades because it created like a paradigm shift around the NBA. The Lakers are dangerous, that's for sure, but they're dangerous with LeBron. How dangerous will they be when LeBron is officially retired? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, but they're not even dangerous right now because they don't have a starting center on their
There's
roster
also
right
that.
now.
There's also that.
Like who they have? Like my guy that was on Christmas Day, Christian Coloco, not to be confused with the lovely Kaylee Cuoco.
Can always trade for Quentin Post. Dude's got his stock values rising.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude. So not like
I don't know about starting Quinton Post anymore either.
this, but the thing we know about this, Derek, I think what we have to also acknowledge is that the deadline's not over. Like that's what's craziest about this too, is there were no negotiations up until the last second. It's not like this happened at whatever. I think it's 1:00 Pacific time. It normally is with these trade deadlines.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's not like it was brought up till 12:30, and then they just made this trade. No, the negotiations happen now. I know the Lakers probably don't have a plan right now because they're like, look, dude, we just got offered Luka Doncic, but I don't think they're done with the trade deadline yet because I think they're realizing what you are saying in that we don't have a big man. We need a big. I don't care what the NBA is like now. You need a big man.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
Put LeBron at the 5.
Yeah, well, exactly. I would be surprised if LeBron just like, all right, so we just did this move to get Luka. I like Luka. Okay, let's just play it out the rest of the season without a center. Like, no, they're still probably going to make a move. And just to read what Tim McMahon got from the Mavs GM, Nico Harrison, as a quote, I believe that defense wins championships. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. We're built to win now and in the future. Ugh, okay. I mean, if that's what you want to do, like if you want to trade Luka, that's fine. But I don't understand why you do it in the middle of the fucking season. And I don't know, when you have a star of his magnitude, I just wouldn't trade him away. I understand that he doesn't play defense. Is that a reason to trade away Steph Curry? Like Steph Curry plays defense better than Luka Doncic. He hustles, he gets rebounds. But you're not, Steph is not the best defender of all time. So you wouldn't just trade him away for that reason, though. Like you build around Luka. Like I would make the case you trade away Kyrie Irving before you trade away Luka Doncic or Klay Thompson. Like I don't understand this at all. And yeah, on paper right now the Mavericks look like a better team. Look like a better team with Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson. Okay, but I don't see this being a championship-winning team.
But also, Klay hasn't played that well this year. Like Klay's been fine, but he is. Like, I mean, I know he had the other day where he had 7 threes in the first quarter. I think it was against the Wizards. I know he had that game, and he has that from time to time. But, I mean, the guy averages like 13, 14 points per game. And he's like that game, he sounded, if you haven't heard any of the post game from that, he sounded like he did with the Warriors, where it's like, man, I feel like it's nice to know I still got it. That kind of thing. They don't have championship Klay anymore. This isn't the same Klay Thompson. I know everyone went crazy when he left the Warriors to go to the Mavs because it's Klay Thompson. But if anyone's been paying attention at all to like his stats from the Mavs, at least, they're not that great. So I don't see this move helping the Mavs. It definitely helps the Lakers more. I mean, you're at the end of the day, you're pairing up LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and I don't know who, Austin Reeves, I guess. like that's pretty good.
Is Austin Reeves your starting point guard right now?
I guess so. Yeah. And you also got JJ Redick, who loves Luka. Luka.
No, I mean, it makes sense for the Lakers. Like, they weren't planning on this, I'm sure. They were just throwing this, and they're like, well, we can't say no to Luka Doncic. Yeah, absolutely, we'll make that move. But I don't see them winning this year. Like, they still have a lot of holes. So, and the thing is, they were winning, too. Like, this literally happened hours before LeBron goes into Madison Square Garden, has a great performance against the Knicks, and then they make this deal. And, and this also comes... like a week ago when the Lakers beat the Warriors and Anthony Davis sat down with Shams and said, we need another big man on this team. And the Lakers were like, well, you can get out of here then. Because the Lakers always seemed to me like they wanted Anthony Davis to play the 5, and he was just so hesitant to do that. I remember his opening press conference when he was traded to the Lakers. He was like, I'm not here to play the 5. I'm like, why not? Why not? And Anthony Davis has great performances against the Lakers. He's a solid player. He just gets injured a lot. And I saw LeBron went after somebody from Yahoo News last night being like, "You're a fucking liar" when it came to speculation that he was done with Anthony Davis. I don't think he was done with Anthony Davis, but I'm sure he's not mad at this move. I also find it really hard to believe that he wasn't consulted about this beforehand, but maybe that's because it was just so crazy that they had to get it done in time. But I don't know why you would rush this. This makes no sense, Steven.
Yeah, I know. But we also this is the age of social media where we're doing a podcast a day after it happens, where we react this way, and then there's going to be something that comes out. Waiting for it, Derek. I'm waiting for the Sam Amick, The Athletic piece, deep dive into the trade that shook the NBA world.
Well, Sam also says that the Mavs did shop around a little bit before the Lakers. They went to another team and said, "Are you willing to swap superstars?" And that other team said, "No, thank you." I doubt it was the Warriors, but who knows?
You brought it up at the top, and the thing that gets me most, because Anthony Davis isn't a scrub or anything. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, is one of the best players in the league. He's awesome. But it is the draft picks. How do you get one first-round pick out of that?
Yeah.
One. How do you offer? Do you know how to do trades? This is the NBA. When you trade a franchise player like this in his prime, you're meant to be getting first-round picks into the 2040s. We're talking unprotected first-round pick in 2028 and 2029, protected first-round picks in 2030, 2031, then unprotected first-round picks in 2035, 2036, and then a second in each of each of those years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what you're supposed to do. What the hell's happening?
No, we're debating is Nikola Vucevic worth a first-round pick or a second-round pick? And now Luka just goes for a first, and that's all you need. This isn't yes,
it is unprotected, right?
What, Chicago's?
No, the first round pick for Luka.
I think so. I don't even know. I haven't looked into that. I think it's just so crazy that I don't think Nico Harrison knows how to make a good deal.
That's the thing. It's like
it's terrible.
You can make this one unprotected and then protect the next year's first.
Exactly.
Round. What the hell?
Well, that's the thing too. The Mavs didn't have to rush this. Did they feel obligated that they had to sign him this offseason? If they didn't, he still would have been under contract. So you could have had more time. I don't know why you would rush this.
Again, there's something behind the scenes, dude. There's something, you know what I mean? But
it sounds like Luka didn't demand a trade or anything. It's just I think they're just tired of him. I think he comes in and he's overweight, and that's something that he's got to change definitely. But it's not worth trading a young superstar that's 25 years old that just took you to the finals. Good Lord.
Do have to shout out ESPN for getting this post out there, but God, the images of Luka celebrating a win in the postseason. I think it was to move on to the Western Conference Finals.
It was to go up, I believe, 3-0, where he got in Rudy Gobert's face last year.
And he was having a celebratory beer, and then Michael Finley just took it away from him. They're all in jail. That's still one of the funniest things ever. Just chilling and having a beer along the wall. Then Michael Finley's like, nah, and then just takes it away. And they're rocking the hat and the t-shirts.
I mean, that's probably what it is that they're, on the surface saying all the right things, and everything that they're not saying on the surface, just behind closed doors, that the reporters are saying is that they didn't see Luka as a superstar for whatever reason, or they didn't like his work ethic and everything, which is, that's reasonable. I get okay, well, you want to move off from him because he's detrimental to the team in that regard, but take your time. He's injured. He's rehabbing. He's not coming back anytime soon. Probably maybe before or after the NBA All-Star break, but this is insane to me. And you know what also pisses me off in this whole thing? Is the Lakers don't have to give him a max contract now. He's ineligible to get that. Because for whatever reason, the NBA has this weird, stupid rule that you're only eligible to get that from the team that drafted you. So now Luka has to wait. I don't know how long he has to wait or when he's going to be able to get it, but the Lakers don't have to do diddly-poo when it comes to giving him a new contract. That's insane to me.
I mean, they got to do something though, right? God, if he doesn't get some sort of there's got to be a max contract.
They can give him. I think from what I read, they could give him a 30% increase on his current deal, but they can't. They can't, for whatever reason, They cannot give him the max deal that Dallas was able to give him.
Yeah. Ran a couple of just reading through the chat here because they're pouring in right now.
Yeah.
And just to kind of answer this question, I'm kind of with Ernie too and Skills. Did Mark Cuban sign off on this? He must have, right? And Skills said Cuban is only 10% owner, so who knows? Well, at first when he sold the team, he did say he was retaining a minority stake and that he would still have a say in day-to-day operations. But yeah, that I don't think he'd trade Luka though.
No,
I don't think he would sign off on this. So I think that gives us some insight into how Mark Cuban is with these day-to-day things.
No, I don't think he has much say. Like if Nico Harrison was on Shark Tank and came in with this proposal, I'm sure Mark Cuban instantly would be like, "I'm out. This is stupid. You got the face of my franchise. You want to trade him away to L.A.? No, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. I'm out." Like there's no way that he says yes to this,
dude.
Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's stupid because the Lakers, yes, they got their next talent, and I hear like all the rumors now. It's like, well, then I guess this means that the Warriors could trade for LeBron James. I don't see that at all. I think LeBron just wants to finish his career. Like, would you rather go play with Steph Curry right now at the end of his career? Would you rather play with a young Luka Doncic and potentially get another big man to help you out there? So
LeBron was using the Warriors last year. Why? What can we can make fun of the Giants all we want for Aaron Judge using the Giants as a leverage for the Yankees. LeBron was using the Warriors. He wanted to stay with the Lakers the entire time. He just used the Warriors, getting it out there so that the Lakers would pay him just a year contract worth $56 million with a player option.
No, but it wasn't LeBron James picking up the phone to call the Warriors. It was Joe Lacob calling the Lakers.
Right.
So leverage. Yeah, I hear you, but I think LeBron was just like, no, I have more say in the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm pretty much, besides last night, dictate everything that we do. So if I go to the Warriors, I'm second fiddle to Steph Curry right now.
Yeah. You know, Nico Harrison, I keep on thinking that name too. Haven't heard it much. It doesn't sound like a GM. It sounds like a stretch 5 two-way player, doesn't it?
Sounds like Nico Mannion.
Yeah. It's like, no, dude, who needs Nikola Vucevic when you got Nico Harrison at home?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of so, yeah, now what the hell do the Warriors do? Because this guy is going to be, I mean, he was already in your conference, but divisions don't matter anymore, but you'll see him a hell of a lot more now. And while we're all talking about maximizing Steph Curry's last few years with the Warriors, the Lakers just sure as shit did that with Luka Doncic. And you could have said, like, well, you know, they had an opportunity to win anyway when they had Anthony Davis. But getting Luka, yeah, he's a superstar. And you got to get someone else. You got to get a 5. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that during this trade deadline. They were also like, this is the crazy part. They were winning. Like, they were playing well. Like, things were good. Like, Anthony Davis was playing well. He was out last night. I guess it was to make sure he doesn't tweak anything before this trade happens. But now they have totally set themselves back a little bit just because you can't just win with LeBron and Luka right now. So, yeah, the Lakers are planning their next wave, their 2-timeline approach from LeBron to Luka. And the Warriors have been stepping on their cranks when it came to that shit. Like, they tried. I know that I've been waffling on the Dirty Work show of, like, should they trade for Jimmy Butler? Should they trade for Zach LaVine? The truth is, yeah, I want them to make a move. But honestly, does it really matter? No. I don't think any of it really matters. Like now that this has happened, what's the closest thing the Warriors could do to compete with the Lakers getting Luka Doncic?
Trade for Anthony Davis.
Trade for Anthony Davis too?
Yes. Yeah. Seems like Nico Harrison's open for stupid trades. Why not try to fleece him again?
And he's like, oh no, I'm not going to fall for that one again.
I'll give you Quentin Post, Trace Jackson Davis, and a future 2029 unprotected first round pick. How about that?
Yeah. I can't see anything comparing to this at this moment right now. Like I think like that's why, like, the other day I said I don't know, because the truth is Zach LaVine, Jimmy Butler, okay, but that's not the end all be all. Like, if I thought Bob Myers said it great the other day. Okay, so you got a number 2 for Steph. What else do you need? Like, and I would love to hear what Bob's take is on this trade because the other day, like Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins are giving him shit like, well, you got to make a trade. You got to make a trade. He's like, trades are hard, guys. Trades are hard. This trade doesn't seem hard at all. It was just like Nico Harris was like, let me just compile some names together
Yeah.
and I'll throw it at Rob Pelinka. And he was like, sold. You're giving me Luka Doncic?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's going to fuck us up for a little bit of time, but I'll take it.
You remember that South Park episode making fun of Family Guy where they would have the manatees were the joke writers and they would just pick like from these floating balls with
that's
words
the Maverick
on it.
Scouts
like,
right now.
That's what they're doing, dude. They're just like, all right, we'll throw.
Who you got?
We'll throw
Max Christie. Yeah, we'll take him. I've heard of his name before.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's what it's like, dude. That's what it feels like.
So I don't know what the Warriors do at this moment. I think
Warriors,
that
I really think you know the Jimmy Butler angle. What
they don't want Jimmy. They don't want Jimmy.
Who would really want who would want that? I think we've kind of come to the realization here with Jimmy. It took me a while to get that one out. Good Lord. That he might be part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know, like he went to the one team that embraces the personality traits that he has. That's what Heat culture is all about. Calling coaches out, calling teammates out, saying they're not working hard enough. They're not practicing hard enough. Well, even though I think I think he's one of the coolest dudes on the planet. I got to be honest. Jimmy Butler's he's very slick. I think he's a cool dude, but he also can be a bit of a pain in the ass.
100%.
I think he was with the Miami Heat, obviously, and I don't think the Warriors want that.
He was a pain in the ass with the Philadelphia 76ers. He's a pain in the ass with the Minnesota Timberwolves, doing that interview with Rachel Nichols. Like,
yeah, all of it. All of it. I mean, do you not think that he might be part of the problem,
100%. Like, what was the whole situation with the Chicago Bulls that his early in his career where Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo were calling out the young guys, and Jimmy Butler was like, man, stop. I think that was the case. Maybe I have that backwards. Maybe it was Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler calling people out. I could be wrong with that one. But I do remember the Minnesota Timberwolves were, funny enough, he was calling out Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns, saying they were soft in practices. And it may just be that he's not a good team guy. Like, he's kind of Terrell Owens in a way where if you've worn out your welcome in multiple places, then maybe it's you, man. Maybe it's not everybody else. Maybe you're the problem. So when I hear initially from Anthony Slater and everybody that we talk to when it comes to the Warriors saying, like, yeah, they don't want to deal with Jimmy Butler, Steph and Draymond don't want that headache. And basically Draymond says it on his podcast the other day, being like, do you know what it would take to get you Jimmy Butler? And he's like, I don't want to trade Wiggins right now. So, yeah, I'm in agreement. Like, I don't think Jimmy Butler's the answer right now at 35, 36 years old, where you're going to have Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler, they can't go back-to-backs because they're older players now. So just because the asking price came down on Jimmy Butler because I guess the Phoenix Suns now can't move Bradley Beal, now the Warriors should be interested just for the hell of it? No, I disagree with that. If Steph doesn't want Jimmy Butler, then they shouldn't get Jimmy Butler. I wouldn't trade for Zach LaVine just for the sake of just trading for Zach LaVine either. I think Zach LaVine's a good player, not a great player. He gives you more offense. He'll give you more shooting, but defensively, like, there's no way to trade for Zach LaVine unless you trade Andrew Wiggins in GP2 and Kevon Looney. Yeah. And I'm not going to, believe me, I enjoyed that OKC victory, and they didn't have Chet Holmgren, so it's like you can take it with a grain of salt.
And Alex Caruso left in the first quarter.
But also at the same time, it's like, okay, this is what I remember with the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins having a great performance, and Kevon Looney doing his things, getting rebounds. GP2. But, then they get blown out by 25 points, the Phoenix Suns. You're like, okay, maybe that was a good send-off for them. I don't know. The reality is, if they did nothing, then I wouldn't really care because I don't think anything can be done unless if you trade for Kevin Durant this offseason, okay, But also, I don't think you could just reboot that again and you're going to have the same success. I don't think you could do 2017 all over again.
Derek, I don't think there's going to be anything done that is going to get them anything but a mini run in the playoffs, if anything. In a mini run being you get through the play-in tournament and you turn into either the 7th or 8th seed, and then who knows, maybe you even beat whoever the 2nd seed is in the first round, or the 1st seed is in the first round for that matter. But I don't see anything more than that. But if that happens, that kind of does set them up well for this offseason, for this coming offseason, to really try and figure this thing out, because the clock is ticking here. And I think this season we realized is almost a waste. But here's the thing, dude. Like, not a waste, but when I watched those games like they had against the Jazz and against the Thunder, everyone like seems to love when these guys are winning, and to love the Warriors whenever they are at their peak. Because you're not going to get Andrew Wiggins, who's just consistently aggressive. You're not going to get a Gary Payton, who is having to guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the full 90 feet of the court, and then yamming on Isaiah Hartenstein in the end of the 4th quarter. Like, you're not going to get that all the time. You're not going to be getting Kevon Looney scoring 18 points, because that tied a career high for him. So I highly doubt he's even going to score 18 points again this year. You're not going to get that every night. But man, it's just like when they're playing that way, fans seem to love them. And it's just wild to me that, they're willing to sacrifice some of that for a potentially an upgrade, even though we're not sure that upgrade might come. It's like it seems like the Warriors fans love their players, but are constantly seeking a trade. I don't really get it this year, even though they know a trade's not going to do much.
Yeah, I mean,
because what it's going to do is you're going to make let's just say you trade for Vucevic or Levine. It's just going to use him as the scapegoat. Like, that's what it's going to turn into.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these fans kind of think like the owner, where you get in your feels. Like, you think about the old days, like how many people were butthurt about Klay Thompson not coming back? And the truth is, Klay's not the same player anymore, and it makes sense not to sign him back. I totally get not bringing back Klay Thompson. I wanted to move off of him after they lost in the Lakers series. Like the other day, me and Copes were talking about it, and how I thought they waited too long to change things. And the truth is, yes, they did do their due diligence when it came to trying to prepare for the future. They did draft James Wiseman. They did draft Jonathan Kuminga. They did draft Moses Moody. But none of them landed. And then they get Jordan Poole, and they, everything with Draymond. And I don't know if Jordan Poole was going to be a great player, but Jordan Poole had a good finals run and then became awkward and, turnover prone.
I'm still going to side with the idea that teammates kind of, I think that he just kind of isolated himself once he started making that big money. I know that they loved each other and they got all that. They got all that. They embraced and everything after the Wizards game. And, I love Jordan and all this and that, but I don't think they liked him too much last year.
No, they didn't. Because at some point you have to move on. And if they really wanted to keep Jordan Poole, then yeah.
Although I'll say this,
they would have done that.
It shouldn't matter though. Like, you know what I mean? They like, I think we can look back on that Jordan Poole trade as when things really started to go downhill. Even if he might have had some attitude issues, he was still really young, and you traded I think he was like 23 when they traded him. So you can work that attitude stuff out. You got to have a hard talk with them, and you got to sit face to face. But I think they could have. Ultimately, they did it, and maybe they should have tried to work it out. But at the same time, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
They didn't do it.
That's all we're talking about here.
No, I know.
At least all I'm talking about. I use that all in the same goddamn sentence. Talk about a run on.
There you go.
I woulda, coulda, shoulda said that differently.
I mean, yeah, but like at that point, like it's tough when you're in a room full of people you go to war with, and everyone's like, you picking me, the young guy, or you picking me, Draymond Green, who punched me in the face, and everybody's gonna go like, dude, nothing personal. We're taking Draymond.
Hey, Hey, you asked me at the top of the pod, like, what's the most shocking, I guess, like, trade news that's come to your phone?
Chris
And,
Paul for Jordan Poole.
well, not that. I'd say that the punch was pretty damn, like, not even a shocking trade, just as far as looking at my phone and seeing something in the news and having my jaw drop the entire time while I'm taking my morning shit. Yeah, that was Draymond punching Jordan Poole. Was that too much? Was that too much detail?
No, hey, we shit as people. It's all good. Everyone poops. Everyone
Yeah,
poops.
that was a knee number right there. Like my elbows.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
When
oh my god.
when you realize you get up from squatting for a while and you're like, God, my legs are really red right now.
Jesus.
I wasn't surprised by that whatsoever, honestly. When that news came out, I was like, Draymond punched Jordan Poole. Okay, I believe it. And then when the video and then when the video came out too, I was like, that's kind of how I envisioned it happening, honestly.
Well, punching is punching is one thing. Like, punching is punching. You laid him out.
I know, but honestly, if Draymond was gonna punch somebody in practice, that's how I envisioned. That's like when everyone was shocked by it. I was like, that's a punch. And I know, like, sucker punch, whatever the hell. Yeah, he fucking clocked him.
He straight Falcon punched him, dude.
Yeah, I know, dude. But, like, has anybody seen Draymond Green on the court? Come on. Wasn't surprised by that.
Yeah, the only thing that would have been better than a Falcon punch is if he would have slid into Poole's face while he was on the ground. Falcon kick.
Yeah. Like, you guys are lucky that Draymond didn't, like, kick him in the nuts while he was on the ground still.
That's my Super Smash Brothers conference reference of the day.
There you go. Falcon punch. I can get down to some Super Smash Brothers back in the day.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But see, like, that's the, like, when you realized Kuminga's not hitting his potential. Like, I'm not saying like you should trade away those guys. It should have been after the Lakers series where you maybe should have got something for Klay Thompson, when you knew that potentially he was declining as a player, not just holding on to him because he's done so much of the franchise. Sometimes you got to make the hard decisions, and maybe that was the time to trade Klay. Maybe that was the time to not sign Draymond back. I'm not saying like Draymond's declined as a defensive player, but I'm not putting out of the realm of possibilities this offseason to trade away Draymond Green if it gets you a better player. Like, as you can see with the Lakers, they don't give a shit. They have nothing beholden to Anthony Davis, and I know he was vital in that championship run, but they traded away just like that. So they'll make the same moves for Kevon Looney and GP2 of the trade deadline. If the offer's on the table to get Kevin Durant back, they'll do it. But I don't believe that's going to happen. I just don't think that Kevin Durant wants to end his career doing. I mean, like, it would be a great story for all of us, and it'd be sweet, and it'd be nice that it became full circle like that when things ended so terribly. I know everyone's reading into KD and what he said, and I guess in that mini clip for the Netflix special that's coming out for the Olympics, where he's like he was talking glowingly about playing with Steph again. But
ring of gold.
I can't also forget all the ridicule he got and how it got to his head. And maybe he's a different guy now, but I think he would rather make it work with the Phoenix Suns. And I think that I'm not buying that this is dead for the Jimmy Butler trade. I still think that Jimmy Butler ends up going to the Phoenix Suns and Bradley Beal waives his no trade clause. It goes to Milwaukee or something. I just don't think the Warriors could do anything right now to match this. Yeah. And prior to this trade, I just don't think they could do anything to win a championship. Like, now, take the Mavs out of it. Like, I think you possibly could compete with them, but all these younger teams now, OKC, Memphis, I just don't see the Warriors. If you get Kevin Durant, you can win a series, but I don't know if you can win the West again. I just don't know at this late in their careers. So
you're also not in a position to make a trade like that anymore, Derek. Like, these two teams, I mean, the Lakers, they haven't been as great, but I think they have been surging lately. Obviously, the Mavs are the Mavs. They've kind of been middle of the pack, but also towards the top. You kind of know those two are going to be playoff teams. Like, the Warriors are on the outside looking in. How are you going to trade from outside of the club when you can't even get in?
Yeah. No, I mean, and the Lakers traded for a young superstar. That's basically what the Warriors have to do now. They have to get Giannis or somebody to match this, but I don't think that's happening.
Steph for Chet.
Yeah. Like, I don't think, like, while the Mavericks are like, oh, we can just move off from our superstar, I think the Milwaukee Bucks would be like, absolutely not. There's no way in hell we can do this. We can't trade away our franchise, the biggest name in franchise history. We can't do that. We can just give away Giannis. The hell are we doing here?
Nah.
They would rather make move like the Bucks would be like, what could we do to get Steph Curry on the Bucks? Like, there's no, like, I don't think there's an answer. And you know what? I think that if this ends with Steph Curry kind of having a Kobe Bryant end to his time with the Warriors, I think that's okay. I think usually when guys go away, it's like that. Like Tim Duncan, he won a few championships towards the end, but the team was declining and Kawhi took over, and that's how he left. Dirk Nowitzki, same deal. He didn't win his last few years in the league. I think the same thing happens with Steph. I think that's okay. I think fans are demanding that it ends the right way with a storybook ending, and I don't think it's going to happen that way. You can try your damnedest to do something, but I don't think. I'd rather, honestly, I know Steve before the game said we're not good enough to just stand pat at the trade deadline, and I totally respect that. And then Steph in the locker room afterwards was like, they asked him, "What do you want to see the trade deadline?" He's like, it's not made up to me. That's not up to me. That's up to Mike Dunleavy Jr. And it's up to Steph. Like, I know we're speculating a lot, but everything we hear, Steph has his hand really big in the organization where he could just nix deals and say, "I don't want to do that." Like, I'm sure he okayed Jordan Poole to get out of here. And also, I'm thinking about Chris Paul in the offseason. If they make this Zach LaVine trade, shouldn't you hung on to Chris Paul? Like, if the deal was Andrew Wiggins and Chris Paul for Zach LaVine, and now, 5 months later, you revisit that same deal, but now it takes 3 players as opposed to 2. I don't give a damn that Chris Paul doesn't want to go to Chicago. Sorry, this is the way of doing business. You should have included Chris Paul in that trade. You should have used his contract to move him. Like, just because, like, I want to get my release and go sign wherever I want to, great. But that's not business. You can always say, like, he got traded to the Washington Wizards and never played, never played for them. So just because the Warriors would have done a good business trading Chris Paul to the Chicago Bulls,
right?
Chris Paul could have found his way out of Chicago. So I think they handled this whole thing terribly, and I don't think they can find a trade that can match the likes of Luka Doncic going to the Lakers.
No, of course not. Like, they've been fine when it comes to drafting players. They've been fine. They haven't been great. But when it comes to trading players, I mean, how can you say that any trade has benefited the Warriors really since, I don't know, acquiring Andrew Wiggins? Other than that, I can't really think of one that's Dennis Schroeder's Dennis Schroeder. I mean, you got Warrior fans seeing these starting lineups to the point where they're saying it's like the worst starting 5 ever. And I'd like to believe that some of these fans that are posting, worst starting 5 of all time, when you got like Dennis Schroeder, Buddy Hield, Andrew Wiggins, shoot, I can't even think, like Trace Jackson Davis or something. If you're saying that's the worst starting 5 of all time, and you've watched a little bit of Warriors basketball in the 2019-2020 season, like, those were the worst.
Yeah,
Kai Bowman and Eric Pascal, and I don't even need to. I think Kevon Looney was starting then, but still, like,
well, not even that, man.
That's how bad those trades have worked out, though. You got people thinking that this is the worst starting 5 they put out there, even though they had that 2019-2020 season.
Of course, but like, that's why, like, okay, just focusing on the Steve Kerr era. Come on, fans, like, come on, people, like, do your research. Like, this team has been shitty for most of my lifetime, and now they just became the top of the NBA.
Steph Curry didn't even know they were in Oakland. He thought he didn't even know where Golden State was.
Yes.
Him and his family didn't when he was going to get drafted there. That's how unknown they were during their time.
Yes. So, like, I know that there's a new batch of Warrior fans that just focus on the last 10 years, and I know, like, you got to win. You got to win. Of course you do. You try to do everything you can to win, but I just don't think it's feasible right now. I think that it's been a mix of Joe Lacob, wanting to do everything you can. I don't care what the rules are, but also at the same time, like, being too loyal to your players. And I know that's something that a lot of organizations don't do these days. But when there's an opportunity to move on and make your team better, you got to jump at that. And I feel like they just lived in the past for too long. So, yeah, now it's blowing up in their face.
Stuck in limbo. Limbo Warriors.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Look, AJ Cruz comes in here. Derek, are you saying Giannis is a bigger name than Kareem back in the day? You get one chance to walk it back. Here's what I'll say about that. Kareem was huge. And back then, I think he was just, what was his original name?
Lou Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor, when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Lou.
He was huge for the Milwaukee Bucks, won a championship with them, no doubt.
He also had college basketball completely change the rules because he was just dunking on too many people at UCLA.
No, absolutely no. Like when Kareem was with the Bucks, he was huge. And then when he went to the Lakers, he got bigger.
And bolder.
Yes, he did. And more feistier because he had to fight with Magic all the time. I can't say personally, AJ Cruz, I wouldn't know that for sure. I think that today it's just different with social media and 24-hour news networks that, yes, probably Giannis is bigger as far as reach and appeal. It's probably on the same par as Kareem. And that you ask Milwaukee Bucks fans that remember that from the 70s when they traded Kareem, they think that was a dumb trade. So,
I don't know, dude. I don't like. I can go with the whole Michael Jordan compared to LeBron James argument, but I don't know. When you're comparing Kareem and Giannis and their impact, those generations are so different now. Like Kareem was obviously awesome, and Giannis is obviously awesome. Like I don't think one is bigger than the other. You'd probably say Kareem had more of a impact just because of how the NBA had shifted and how the sport had shifted since he started playing, because it had never seen anyone like him. But Giannis is still Giannis. Like I don't know. I hate comparing different eras, especially that from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s to now. I mean, that was over 50 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to say, but I doubt that the Bucks would want to move off of Giannis in the same way that they were willing to move off of Kareem. In different times, like, you know, there's more national attention with Milwaukee when there wasn't that for quite some time. So, yeah, I doubt that happens. Like, I don't know what the Warriors can do. Like, they'll probably go crazy over this move. I'm sure Joe Lacob's like, well, we can't be beat by them. So they'll try to trade for KD in the offseason if he wants to leave, which I don't know if he does right now. If you trade for Zach LaVine, okay, cool, we'll talk about it, but I don't want that to preclude you from doing something bigger. And also, I also don't want it to be where if the trade deadline goes and there's no Jonathan Kuminga trade, which most likely there won't be at this point, where it's like, okay, well, it's a foregone conclusion now. He has to be a part of this franchise. He has to be, integral to our success going forward. And I wouldn't say that. I think that if there's a move on the table this offseason, like he's the biggest trade piece you have past the trade deadline. Like if it's going to be where you move off of Wiggins and expiring contracts, then okay, and you get Zach LaVine, cool. But also, if you have an opportunity to move Jonathan Kuminga for something huge in the offseason, yeah, you do that. You do a sign and trade. I don't just say, well, you can't trade Kuminga. I think there's a lot of Warrior fans out there that feel like Steve Kerr doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he was just gifted 4 championships because he has great players, and they feel like he's the bad guy in this Jonathan Kuminga situation, so they have Kuminga's back for whatever reason. And I would just say, like, what have you guys seen that makes you believe this so much that Jonathan Kuminga is a superstar? So I would definitely trade him in the offseason if he gives you something bigger.
There's a lot to unpack with that. But we talked about it with Kuminga a lot, Derek. And it's this idea that he was their first round pick. You're meant to get someone else besides Wiseman, and you convince yourself in your mind that this guy is going to be a superstar no matter who he plays for, no matter who coaches for him. And the only people that are getting in his way are those around him. And we always look at the head coach. Steve Kerr is the one who's hindered his development just because he's not giving him consistent minutes. And Kuminga hasn't really helped that either. I mean, he's obviously had his agent reach out to Shams and say all those things that he said about Steve Kerr. Yeah, exactly. But the reality with Kuminga, and something I think we've come to find out now that we're in year 3, year 4. Like, if you see these superstars, they find a way to make it work. Sometimes there are these coaches that are holding them back, but I never felt that with Kuminga. Maybe he didn't roll with Steve Kerr's style, and maybe he would have been better suited for another team. But to me, in the NBA, like, you can tell when someone's got it. Tyrese Halliburton, you could see that he got it. I don't know what the Sacramento Kings didn't see in him, but you could see that he had something there. And it's like with Kuminga, he's so athletic, and there are things about him where you're just like, wow, this guy, give him some time, he's going to be amazing. Hell, everyone thought of that with James Wiseman. Just give him a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Where in reality, they're good. They're just not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. And if you can find something for Kuminga, I think you should. But I think this offseason is when something's going to happen, not this trade deadline.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't think if they get Zach LaVine and Vucevic, cool. Okay. But I think that this move with Luka just trumps everything else. And AJ Cruz in the chat here. Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Pods, Wiggs, and a Warriors 27 and 28 first-round picks for Giannis. Yeah, I mean, sure, but I don't think Milwaukee's making that deal. So I don't know what they could do. I think the only bigger move I can anticipate for this trade deadline is if De'Aaron Fox gets moved to the San Antonio Spurs. And at the same time, I would believe that that the Kings, even though they do business not great sometimes, they would want a plethora of picks, unlike what the Mavericks asked for Luka. And I don't even know, like, there's some people that believe that this is all just contract negotiations. That at the end of the day, De'Aaron Fox just doesn't really want to leave Sacramento. This is just put out there because he's trying to get a bigger deal. So I don't know, man. I have a hard time believing we'll see anything as crazy as what we saw last night. I don't think anything will marvel that at all.
No, not at all. Unless you, I don't know, go back in time and decide to trade Steph Curry after 2014. Like, you know what I mean? Like that would do it. If you traded, like, that's what it would be like if you traded Steph Curry right before they won the finals.
Or after they lost the finals. Like something like that, where it's just like, yeah, like it's like some people are even saying like, well, you know, they made it to the NBA finals, but they got smoked by the Celtics. Okay. They're building something. Why do you think Klay Thompson wanted to sign there? It was to play with Luka.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Anyway, yeah. So that's God. Yeah, I don't think we'll see anything as shocking as that when it comes to a trade. Like usually we get like graphics now when it comes to these like breaking news. You know, with Luka's face. They didn't even have time to do that because it was just so shocking. Like, we didn't plan for this. No one was able to, you know, do a Photoshop of Luka Doncic in a Lakers uniform in time. Like, this is insane.
Oh, are you? Have you seen any of Nico Harrison's presser?
I have not.
All right, because this came out. I want to find the original video here. Yeah, this surfaced just now as we've been talking about it. You know who didn't know this was going to happen? Apparently Jason Kidd.
Now I'd like to give Rob Pelinka a lot of credit. You know, trades, you guys have been around here. Trades don't happen at the smallest level without stuff getting out. And Rob and I were able to have, you know, really intense conversations over the course of, you know, 3 or 4 weeks that started out as a coffee that, you know, was more, hey, would you ever, I don't know, would I, let me think of, you know, and then it built upon that. And, you know, we kept it between us. We had to keep it tight.
Why?
Jake didn't know about it. But Jake and I are aligned, and we talk about archetypes, and we talk about the culture that we want to create. So I know the type of players that he likes without actually talking to him. Hey, would you like, you know, so I know that. And Jake Kidd coached them when they won the championship. So I think when you're aligned with your coach like that, I know the type of players that he likes. And so I felt good about it making sense to where we're trying to go.
I would say that he's covering for Jason Kidd in a way. I'm sure that behind closed doors.
That's what it sounds like to me. He may not have
Yeah.
been notified of the trade, but it sounds like they've had conversations where he's like, I can't work with this dude.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I think that Jason Kidd's like the work ethic of Luka is
That was
piss poor.
revealing, bro.
Yeah. And if anyone's saying like, well, we want to win now. The Mavericks want to win now. Really? What about 2 years ago when you rested everybody that last game of the NBA season, or like 2 games before, where they benched Luka, they benched Kyrie Irving, they benched all their guys with the opportunity to make the play-in, and they said, nah, forget that. We want to get like, what was it, like a top 5 pick or whatever it was if they rested all their guys. And they made Jason Kidd go out there in the press conference and be like, yeah, you got to compete. You got to compete. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? The hell are you talking about? You're resting all your guys. You're not competing tonight. Fuck out of here with that. So, yeah, this looks terrible. Yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to hear Luka's press conference. Yeah, this is insane. And yeah, like I said before, Steven, I'm a huge NFL free agency guy. I care about that stuff. Like it's like this is such a weird time between the Super Bowl and the bye week. And I'm sure we'll hear a lot of rumors, trade stuff, like DK Metcalf, will he go to the Raiders and all this stuff. And all of it, like, it's fun. Like I can like, go in depth more because I know football better. But like, I know NBA superstars. Nothing will come close to this. This is insane.
Yeah, but also the conspiracy that's going to go into this, right?
What?
Well, NBA's viewership is declining.
So they had to do this.
So Adam Silver behind closed doors had to work up a trade, had to work something crazy, something.
Want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Yeah, Adam Silver saying that. Can't picture it at all.
Well, like behind closed doors, everybody's like all of like the TV execs and everything are like, Adam,
yeah,
you really want to make the game shorter?
That's the thing. That's the thing. 10-minute
you
quarters.
Really wanted to be 10-minute quarters and lose ad revenue?
Throw them off the set.
Yeah, he's like, okay. How about we do this instead? Although this is the type of deal that David Stern back in the day would be like, no chance. I'm not allowing this.
Nixing it.
No. Oh yeah, if he nixed Chris Paul, again, that was a different deal where the Hornets were owned by the league because they had no owner at the time. They folded, I guess, or filed for bankruptcy. So they had a say in everything. But I believe like David Stern be like, what are you doing? Luka Doncic to the Lakers? And he, you know what? Actually, I take that back. He'd probably be all for it because it's good for the league that the Lakers are good. So, but at the same time, he nixed the Chris Paul deal. So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, let's talk a little football.
We need more like from this. We need to hear Luka speak. We need to hear Anthony Davis talk. There's more to unpack with this. We're just scratching the surface here.
Well, did you see that one clip where the reporter was talking to Anthony Davis and he's like asking him about something and it's like, do you think you could do this? Blah, blah, blah. I forget what the context was, but it was like the last line was, while you have your remaining time with the Lakers. And he goes, remaining time? You're making it seem like you're getting traded soon, buddy.
Oh, shit.
Not to say like that guy knew something, but it's kind of weird. All right. Yeah, it's kind of a downtime in the NFL. Nothing crazy right now. Like we're all, more stuff will happen during Media Row this week with everybody going to New Orleans.
Brandon Graham might be playing. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a nothing burger, but that's cool.
Well, I mean, like that and did you forget your mic the whole time here? Okay. It just doesn't feel like it's been on.
No, it's been on.
Okay, gotcha.
It's been on.
The irony, because you had to go back for it and everything.
Yeah, it's been on.
But yeah, like that might be the end for Brandon Graham. People are speculating that Travis Kelce is going to retire if they win. We'll see about that. I haven't even had that cross my mind.
Could see that happening. What's his contract looking like?
I don't know. I think he's got maybe. He's definitely not a free agent this year, so maybe 2 more years.
No, he's a free agent after 2025. But he does have
Okay.
a potential out here that only costs some 17 million and 2.5 in dead cap. So it's it's a realistic thing that if they do win, that he'll retire. Yeah.
I could see that. But yeah, just as far as like off-season news and whatnot, it sounds like Kellen Moore is going to get this Saints job, um, which is kind of surprising to me because I don't know, it's not the best situation. They're in salary cap hell. I mean, from the news, like everyone's insinuating that um, Kellen Moore is going to get this job. I saw like Alvin Kamara tweet out the other day like a yawn emoji, being like, "I don't care for this," which is interesting. And I don't even know what Derek Carr's future is with the Saints. But yeah, they decided to not go with Mike McCarthy. Like McCarthy, like I guess got to Tom Pelissero and was like, "I'm going to focus on the 2026 head coaching cycle," and that's his way of saying I didn't get the job. Same thing with Joe Brady. Same thing with Cliff Kingsbury. Maybe it's a mix of them not wanting the job or them just being told, "We don't want you. We want Kellen Moore." And you got to believe, like I know this is speculating a little bit here, of me like going around the rules and whatnot, but you got to believe with Kellen Moore spending the whole week in New Orleans, they're going to contact him a lot. So he'll probably stay over after they win or lose, and he'll become head coach of the Saints. And other news like the Lions are losing coaches left and right. Good Lord. The guy that we thought was going to be their offensive coordinator, Tanner Eggstrand, he didn't get the job, or Eggstrand, or Engstrand, whatever it is.
Engstrom, I think, or something.
Okay. Young guy who we all thought was going to be the next Ben Johnson. He didn't get the job. Johnny or John Morton, however you say it, who was like, I remember him from the Raiders back in the day. Not the best offensive coordinator, but he got the job outside of the organization, which is a weird move. But I do like our guy, David Shaw, was named pass game coordinator for the Lions. So that's good for them, but they're losing a lot of coaches. The Bucks hired their pass game coordinator to be their OC, which I thought Bobby Slowick should have got that job. And if there's a bunch of teams if there's teams out there that just pass on Bobby Slowick as offensive coordinator, I would not be the least bit surprised if when Kellen Moore leaves the Eagles, that the last guy remaining is Bobby Slowick and the Eagles go with him.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting for the league and the NFC. If people are hoping on hope that if Bobby Slowick doesn't get an OC job, that he joins the Niners in some capacity. But I got to believe that he gets some job. The biggest news, though, for Raider fans is that Patrick Graham is coming back as defensive coordinator. And that's a little surprising just because Pete and Patrick Graham, I don't think have any connection, but I'm sure he valued the relationship that Max Crosby has with Patrick Graham, and the defense wasn't terrible. Probably the biggest bright spot of the team. So I think that's a win for the Raiders getting Patrick Graham back.
I think so. I think it's an acknowledgement of Pete Carroll and his respect for kind of at least a little bit of what the Raiders have done. He's not coming in just to tear the entire thing down. He is, bringing back some of his old Seahawks coaches, but they retained the defensive line coach, Rob Leonard. They brought in the linebackers coach from those Legion of Boom teams. And obviously you got Patrick Graham. Like, I really like the look of that. I'm not going to sit here and say, I don't like the look of it. I'd just have more question marks if they were all gone, wondering what it would look like. I know what I'm getting with Patrick Graham. What was it? The illusion of disguise, or whatever.
The illusion of complexity.
The illusion of complexity.
It's still hanging around. And I was surprised by this note. Not surprised, but just like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I think Hondo or somebody tweeted out that right now Patrick Graham doing, what is this? This would be his 22, 23, 24, 25, his fourth season as Raiders defensive coordinator. He's the longest tenured defensive coordinator for the Raiders since Rob Ryan.
That's crazy.
That's insane. And I guess the latest is everyone's expecting Darrell Bevel to get the OC job, which is not surprising. That's like Jim Harbaugh hiring Greg Roman.
Yeah.
Everyone will focus on Darrell Bevel being the guy that decided to throw the ball at the 1 yard line instead of handing off to Marshawn Lynch. But he's a good offensive coordinator. He's been in the league for quite some time. Right now, he's, I believe, the quarterback coach and pass game coordinator for the Dolphins. So I wouldn't be mad at that. We'll just see if the Russell Wilson stuff is true. It sounds like the Steelers want to go with one of the quarterbacks. They don't want to sign both back, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. So we'll see what happens. We got a lot of time until the frenzy kicks off.
Yep. Shador Sanders is going in a lot of mock drafts for the Raiders, by the way.
Yeah, but I guess at the East-West Shrine Bowl, he said he expects to play the Dallas Cowboys twice a year. So that's his way of insinuating that he may go to the Giants. Who knows? I have no idea.
Jackson Dart impressing.
Yeah, that's true.
Jordan Schultz said he's going to be a top 10 pick, Derek.
Yeah, Jordan Schultz really knows his NFL. Or just what agents tell him.
Yeah.
Anything else football-wise that's happening? I mean, no, we'll get more stories this week.
Just the Super Bowl, that kind of stuff. That. Have you seen the Doritos commercial yet? I try not to watch the ads already because they debut the Super Bowl commercials early.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Doritos one yet?
I have not. I know the only one I know of that's happening. I guess we've gotten like previews for a lot of them. Oh wait, the Doritos. Wait, no. Okay, I know of a couple. Okay, I know that when they're doing a remake of When Harry Met Sally with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
They're doing. I think it's with mayonnaise too, by the way, which is. They're doing like where she's having an orgasm eating a whatever, like a sandwich.
Yeah.
I'll have what she's having.
Yeah.
They're doing the Reese's peanut butter cups with lava inside, I guess, lava fudge, where the grandma's driving her scooter up a hill to a volcano and she's screaming lava. And then I watched. There's another one. Oh, Matthew McConaughey for Uber Eats dressed as Mike Ditka. That's the only one I've seen too.
That's the teaser one.
Yeah.
Sure. I am curious to see what they do with him as Ditka. But the Doritos one, I'd recommend you not watch it until the actual Super Bowl if watching commercials, if you're into that sort of thing. Because it gave me a chuckle when I saw it. I was like, oh. Yeah.
I know like in this day and age, a lot of people don't pay attention to the commercials. You're gonna have your phone out. So the better thing to do most likely is to probably do it ahead of time on YouTube and stuff like that. Like it really devalues what Super Bowl commercials used to be. Like you used to see it for the first time and it was crazy and it was funny. Now, like you see a shorter version of something you saw on YouTube and you guys see the full version if you go to YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's just the day and age we live in now, but kind of kills the fun of the Super Bowl.
I agree. I'm with you. I hate it. I hate the fact that I saw the Doritos thing. Yeah. I hate it.
No, it should be a surprise. You want to do, we'll do our Jackass of the Week. How about that?
Oh, Jackass of the Week.
Haven't done this in a while.
Oh, God.
I'll make it brief. I got one, but maybe a runner-up. The real Jackass of the Week, hands down, is this MMA fighter, Bryce Mitchell. It takes a lot for even Dana White to be like, you're a fucking idiot. So this guy, I don't want to read the quotes because they're just vile, but basically just giving a good old round of applause to Hitler and Nazis and, hates Jews. And so fuck that guy. And Dana White called him out, but also was like, it's freedom of speech. So what can you do? Which is kind of what MMA is not all about, but that's their MO. So
yeah.
Not surprised there, but yeah, fuck that guy. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, he it's the thing with him is like I think he has like his own farm. He's kind of like your salt of the earth kind of guy, and then he started just touting these crazy conspiracies, and you're thinking, wow, this guy's a little off his rocker. But at the same time, there were other things that he would say where I think he got like a economics degree from the University of Arkansas or something. So it's like he is smart, at least book smart, but then he just says these things. And, I always went back and forth on him because like he also called out Elon Musk and said some certain things there, some certain truths, but then Yeah, he goes with this, and that's one where I'm just like, okay, dude, I'm done. Like I'm not
Yeah.
even, I'll take the Earth is flat stuff, whatever. You want to believe that, fine. Like that has no impact. But when you say, that Hitler guy didn't turn out to be all that bad. I think he gets a bad rap. They're not teaching you the right things in your history class. Yeah, let's blame education on that when, I don't know, people since those World War II days have been telling you firsthand what happened.
Yeah.
It's just not everything has to be a conspiracy, and it's just way too much. And I don't even know if it's like, I think Dana White and a couple other fighters responded and saying it's the problem with the internet age. I don't know if it's the internet age. I think this is I don't know where he went with this. I don't know what kind of books he read. I don't know, dude. It's insane that he said that.
Yeah.
I know free speech is a thing, but you could absolutely choose to not listen. Free listening is a thing, right?
Yeah, there is. I mean, like, I do think that, freedom of speech is kind of threatened these days. I will admit that. However, there's a difference between freedom of speech and hate speech,
Right.
and I think that's what categorizes what Bryce Mitchell said, or what is his name? Yeah, Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah,
I don't even
Bryce
know his
Mitchell.
name. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, his nickname is Thug Nasty, and he got knocked out by Josh Emmett in one of his, not the most recent fight, but the one before that. He got knocked out, and I thought I thought he was dead. It was crazy. It was nuts. So some people were reposting that, saying, well, look what happened. This is like, I don't know, dude. That's a lot. I can't believe that he actually said that.
Yeah, I mean, like, for Dana White to be like, well, that's the beauty of this sport. You can not like what he says, then you can root for him to get his ass kicked. I'm like, that's not enough, man.
Well, also, it's Dana White supporting a political agenda, and kind of bringing back up this whole Nazism thing. Elon doing that. Like, I need staying
it's
away
a
from that.
whole thing. Another minor one that doesn't even compare to Bryce Mitchell. Did you see what Cam Newton said on First Take the other day?
No.
If you could find the clip real quick, Steve, if you just type in Cam Newton
wait, the Fox thing?
No, not the Fox thing. We talked about that, how that was just a ridiculous comparison.
We talking about the Super Bowl thing?
Yes, he would rather. Stephen A. gave him the choice. Would you trade one of your MVPs to win a Super Bowl?
All right,
and he emphatically says no.
Hang on.
And everybody in the chat, I said threatened in Cam Newton. All right? I'm emphasizing my T's now, people.
Try it. Look, man, I haven't made fun of it in a while because you're making an effort to do it. All right,
I'm trying.
On first date, here we go.
We've got a former league MVP right here on the set right now in Cam. I ask you, Cam, if you could give back that league MVP for a Super Bowl championship, would you do it?
Nope.
Oh.
Really?
Wow.
Because you have to ask it through this lens. That was a very journalistic viewpoint or vantage point or response, Stephen A. I'll ask you this question, and just to pose this thought: what's more important, impact or championships? You look at a guy like Allen Iverson, or you stood up on the table and blah 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 blah. Everybody's not going to be Michael Jordan. Everybody's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's not going to be these individuals who have the luxury of saying, hey, I not only dominated this sport, but I also have championships to back it. Like, let me remind you, Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Respectfully, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. So, yes, when you look at those guys and you say, okay, what's more important? Would you have preferred to win a Super Bowl? I think that's the humble approach. But if we're being honest, the impact of you holding yourself accountable to say everybody has a responsibility to do. And you could say as an MVP award winner or an All-American, you've held yourself or you've held your end of the bargain down.
All
right. Also, is that like dry spilled milk on top of his hat?
Hope so.
Yeah, that's something. That's something white on top of his helmet. Anyway, or hat, safari hat, whatever the hell that is. I understand what Cam is saying. He's like has a very convoluted way of saying it for whatever reason. Basically, he's just saying that I would rather be a great player than win championships. I'm not going to substitute my greatness for one team achievement. I'd rather be a Hall of Famer, which he's not, to then be a Super Bowl winner. That's, everyone, I mean, like not everyone, but a lot of people get that chance. Like he's like kind of minimalizing it where it's like Trent Dilfer won one. Who else did he say? Brad Johnson won one. Respectfully, Nick Foles, which is why he signals out Nick Foles as opposed to those other two guys like they're scrubs. Brad Johnson was a solid player in the NFL for quite some time. I know that Trent Dilfer, we always talk about him as a guy that shouldn't have won a Super Bowl. His talent didn't match that. But at the end of the day, he was in the league for a long time as a solid backup. So you can trivialize that or minimize that, whatever you want to do. But I just think that's the way he went about it. He could have just made that more of a simplistic argument. But also, like, what he's saying is ridiculous. Like, I've seen some people come out and be like, Cam's right. You got to be a selfish player sometimes. You got to be selfish in order to get greatness. Yeah, but also greatness also means making sacrifices in order to do what's best for your teammates. And I remember Cam Newton in that Super Bowl not falling on a fumble and not really giving a shit halfway through and leaving the podium after he lost. So, yeah, I'm not surprised by that comment, but I think most people would tell you, or most former players would be like, individual success is awesome, but at the end of the day, it's going to haunt you down the line that you didn't win a Super Bowl. Ask Dan Marino.
That's what my response was going to be. Like, I wish Dan Marino were in that room. A guy with more credentials than Cam has had, but also similar in that he won an MVP, just won, and didn't reach a Super Bowl level. Like, I respect the fact that he's being honest about it.
Yeah,
I do, because I think if you ask Dan Marino, I'm sure he'd tell you he'd absolutely trade in that 1984 ring if that meant that he could, or that MVP rather, so he could get a ring.
Well, dude, they asked him, I don't know if you've seen his football life, but they asked him the first question when they started is it cool to be known as the best quarterback to never win a Super Bowl? He goes, that's not cool at all. It's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but with Cam, like, all right, well, that's all you need to know. Like, you ask why Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl. There's probably tons of reasons for it. I'm not going to act like I know, because I wasn't watching live football in the 80s. So I can't give you like thorough analysis on that. I can only probably, give you something that I've maybe read or heard. Right. But with Cam, that's all you need to know. Like, if Dan Marino said, yeah, I'm good with my MVP and the fact that I didn't get any Super Bowls. All right, cool. So you just cared about that. That's all you cared about. Well, with Cam, there you go. No wonder you didn't win it with a really, really good Panthers team. That I don't want to take anything away from that 2015 season, because I remember watching that thinking, God, is there going to be any team that has more fun winning and doing it the way that they're doing it? Like, if they lost in the playoffs, I probably would have forgotten about it. You'd probably say the same thing about the Ravens this year, with like Cameron Bynum doing all the dance moves and all that sort of stuff in the end zone. But I remember watching that team thinking, God, they're just having so much fun on the football field. And I don't want to diminish anything that he did in 2015, but that's why you don't have a Super Bowl, dude, is because you clearly didn't care about that.
Yeah, no, he had an awesome MVP season. I think it was like 35 touchdown passes and 10 rushing TDs. He deserved it. But basically he's telling you, I'd rather be Cam Newton than just one of these other quarterbacks that won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He wants to be known as the guy that has his podcast and the guy that did the Superman thing and the guy that, like, all you need to know is when you listen to his podcast, sometimes he talks about how, like, I didn't go to strip clubs for women. Pause. Yeah. I went to show up other men. How I wanted to spend more money than them because I could. Because I'm Cam. And it's like, all right, Cam. All right. Yeah. Whatever. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, a little pop culture catch up.
Do you want me to give one? I got one, but
sorry.
It might be an always jackass of the week. It's always jackass of the season. But once again, Eagles fans, dude. Like they're just
yeah.
they just tell on themselves. And there was one video, I think his name's Tailgate Ted. I don't need to show the video because there wasn't anything crazy, but there's this Commanders fan who was there till the very end, right at the end of the blowout. And there was just these Eagles fans just riding him the whole time. But Tailgate Ted didn't say anything. He just kept looking forward. Actually, if you look at his Twitter, all he was doing was tweeting about how nice this stadium is, Lincoln Financial Field, and how nice these Eagles fans are. And he responded to someone who posted that video saying, look, I'm not going to give these people I'm not going to give them any of my attention. They don't deserve it because they are some of the few. Eagles fans, believe it or not, I've been to a lot of games here in Philadelphia. Most Eagles fans are really nice, believe it or not. But this one guy kind of stands out, and it doesn't represent the entire fan base. So I'm more calling on that Eagles fan who was the jackass, and I'm also giving a shout out to Tailgate Ted in this same vein.
There you go, man.
Shout out to Tailgate Ted.
Tailgate Ted. There you go. Those are our jackasses of the week. A little pop culture catch up, Steven. I watched Saturday Night, the movie that takes you in, I think it was an hour and a half before the first live taping of Saturday Night Live. And it's on Netflix. It's directed by Jason Reitman, and it's very well done. It's a very good movie. I like the fast-paced nature of it. You can kind of like feel the cocaine, like how like crazy it is, and like how frantic everything is going on. It kind of feels like the fast-paced nature of it is kind of like Wolf of Wall Street, or the last few scenes of Goodfellas, where like everything's like just so crazy and
right.
So it's awesome. I would have liked to see more how they developed Saturday Night Live and how Lorne Michaels, created the show and how they got approved. But it really is just about that night and how close they were to not airing it at all. I don't know how real any of it is. I've heard some of those stories. Some of it I think is a little too far-fetched. Everyone, like, we usually knock on movies when, what's it? The wrestling movie that just came out, the Zac Efron movie,
Iron Claw.
The Iron Claw, where everyone was ripping it because the guy that played Ric Flair sounded nothing like him. You can lose a movie real quick if you are portraying real people and they don't represent them very well. This did a great job. Everybody from, I don't know the names of the actors, but the people who played Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi all knocked it out of the park with the mannerisms and everything. It was perfect. So, yeah, I highly recommend it. Really good movie. Can't really give it any flack other than I would have liked to see it done differently, is more than just one day. But the one day aspect of it is really interesting. So, yeah, I highly recommend Saturday Night.
Okay. We've, I guess my pop culture catch up would, well, for one, there's the Saturday Night Live documentary, which we watched the first couple episodes. It's on Peacock.
Oh, okay.
So it's a celebration of their 50th anniversary.
Is that's new?
Yes. And
they're doing a special, I think, in 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
Yeah. Pretty soon. And
on Sunday night, which is weird.
The first episode was it goes through like auditions and what it's like to audition for them. And the second episode is an entire breakdown of the cowbell skit, how it got made, the Blue Oyster Cult. They have members from that speaking on it. Christopher Walken did not speak on the doc, which is very unfortunate. But the thing that made me laugh the most, and I'm not going to give anything away, but the thing that made me laugh the most is I never noticed this when watching it. I've watched that skit hundreds of times, probably. I never noticed Christopher Walken in the back just cracking up when Will Ferrell was going all out doing the cowbell.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they close in on it, and I don't know what it is about Christopher Walken, but whenever he laughs or smiles in movies, it cracks me up. So just watching him laugh at that, yeah, I was dying.
Sailor.
So still haven't watched anything beyond that though, so I'm looking forward to those other episodes. And then Derek, I never knew this, or at least I knew it, but I've never seen it. I I've had Paramount Plus for a while now, and Paramount Plus comes with Showtime, or at least I'm on someone's account.
Are you paying for it?
No.
Oh, but you're using somebody else's account.
I'm using someone else's account.
But you're not like me where you're logged in and no one notices for whatever reason.
No, I'm not like that, Derek. No.
Okay.
No. People know. The people whose account it is, yeah, they know. They know the account.
No. Do you know my whole deal with Paramount Plus?
No.
Have I not said this on the podcast? I'm sure I have.
You're not using the one that I'm using, are you?
No. I have my own account, but I haven't been charged.
Oh, that's right.
Years.
That's right.
I'm logged in on my Roku. Check my bank statements all the time. Knock on wood. Have not been charged by Paramount Plus in quite some time.
Hopefully those executives aren't watching this pod.
Yeah, I doubt that.
But I didn't realize. I forgot that you have said that. I did not know that, or I knew I had Showtime, but I didn't realize I haven't seen the Comedy Store doc.
Oh yeah, neither have I actually.
You haven't?
No, I need to.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That was the doc of choice when I was packing. Like whenever I'm doing laundry or certain chores around the house, I like to have background noise on because I'm a psychopath. And the Comedy Store doc, it was on, and God, it's just so good, man.
Yeah.
It like the whole thing. It kind of gives you. It reminds you why Joe Rogan is so big. Like you get a lot of people who kind of comment on the Joe Rogan experience, and shocked that he was in stand up and all that. But in reality, he saved the Comedy Store really. Just because of how popular he was and him coming back because he was banned after the whole thing with Carlos Mencia, him calling him out for the jokes when Carlos Mencia was like the king of stand-up. But, going from like Dave Letterman and Jay Leno talking about Robin Williams for a time, obviously the center of it. Yeah, AJ Cruz has mentioned it here. Pauly Shore's mom ran the Comedy Store, Mincy Shore, and everyone has their own Mincy impression, which is awesome. But you have Jimmy J.J. Walker talking on it. No Dave Chappelle, which is unfortunate. But, dude, it's just it gives you the history of everything, like how it was the Comedy Store and the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
You go on those two things, you've made it in the comedy world. And also with the Joe Rogan stuff, it was made in 2020. And it makes me sad to kind of see where they've all gone now because there's been a lot that's changed since the documentaries come out, especially with that podcast too. And there's certain things that I don't like about it, but I will always have like immense respect for that guy and for a lot of these other comedians who went through there. I mean, there's like stuff about Whoopi Goldberg performing in the Belly Room and who is another big one? Can't even think of her name right now. Whitney Cummings, how she, like, people think she was like a industry plant where the industry just started getting her all these TV gigs and stand-up specials. She's like, no, motherfucker, I've been standing out here for 3 years just trying to get a 3-minute set every night.
Yeah.
like just you get a lot of you gain a lot of respect, and it also makes you, I mean, shoot, I want to go to my next I want to go to an open mic and just try this shit out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not funny at all, but would love to. Jesse's looking at me like, don't do that.
No, Steven, follow your dreams. Follow your dreams.
I had dreams, Jesse. I had dreams.
No, I told you I did stand up a couple times, right? In college.
Yeah.
It's there's nothing like it. It's the most nerve-wracking thing, but
yeah.
It's awesome. And you can always say like you attempted it. Have you ever been to the Comedy Store?
Never been.
Oh, dude. When I was living in West Hollywood, I was walking distance to the Comedy Store. And yeah, I think that documentary came out when I was living there. So they advertised it all the time. And for whatever reason, I didn't end up watching it. I think I had Showtime too at the time, but I just didn't end up watching it.
Dude,
but
you'll be locked in.
I'm sure I would be.
Don't watch it like say you get home and you got like you got a Warriors game on at like 7:00 or something, but you're home before then. Don't say, yeah, I'm just going to watch one episode and then I'll turn on the Warriors game. Like, you're going to want to watch the next and the next and the next. It's so good, dude.
All right. Okay. I will tap into that.
I recommend it for anyone. If you like stand up at all, you'll see why the people are in the position they are now. And they, they talk about all like the jealousy, people getting these certain shows. Like, God, it's crazy how it all went like that. Nowadays, you kind of got to grow this like social media following. You got to be really good with crowd work and all that and stand up. But back then it was, you go to the comedy store, you impress Mincy Shore. All right. Then you go on to the Tonight Show. All right. Then potentially you get a sitcom. They did a whole thing on Freddie Prinze and his kind of rise immediately when he was like 19 years old, first appearing at the store. It's so good. Can't get over it.
Okay. All right. I will definitely watch that. A few things before we get out of here. I went to the Ricky Henderson Celebration of Life yesterday. Awesome event. I didn't know how I was going to feel going to it yesterday because Copes was asking me on a Friday. I just didn't have the words to describe what I was feeling because I don't really know what I would feel. I didn't get a chance to go to the last game in Oakland, so I feel like I missed out on that. And to me, I kind of treated it like it's a game. Like I am going to wear my Ricky Henderson jersey and the shirt I have of everything I know about stealing I learned from Oakland. Put that on. I treat it like I was going to the Coliseum for an A's game, which I know is not going to happen again. So I kind of cherished that a little bit yesterday, and it was just awesome to go in there. And it wasn't in the Coliseum, but it was at Oracle Arena, or what was Oracle Arena. And it wasn't as packed as I would have liked it to be, but just to be around A's fans again to celebrate something Oakland related was awesome. And they had a very good job by the master of ceremonies, or masters, I should say. 3 people in particular. Shooty Babbitt, who we know very well from back in the day, 95.7, used to come on with Michael Urban all the time. Guys like Shooty and Bip Roberts, who was the other guy, I mean, they are basically, they look up to Ricky as a mentor because it's a similar situation to them, growing up in Oakland and loving the A's and idolizing Ricky, and then to become a contemporary with him or a friend even, is just awesome to them. So to hear them reflect about that. The big thing to me was Rennell Brooks Moon being a part of that as well. And I know everything with her and the Giants last year didn't go and didn't end well. And for her to be up there repping the green and gold and talking about her friend, Ricky Henderson, was awesome. And she let it be known to the crowd, and I think people know this about her. She's a diehard Raider fan. She wanted everybody to know she's Oakland to the core. Like she represents the town. Dave Stewart talked. He told some funny stories. I'll say this one briefly. He was talking about how he didn't really reflect on Ricky, the baseball player, but more Ricky, the friend. So there's one day where Dave Stewart was talking to Rick, and he was like, "Rick, where you been, man?" And Ricky was like, "Oh, I was out hunting." He was like, "You were hunting? With who? What?" He was like, "Oh, I was big boar game hunting." He's like, "With who?" He's like, "Oh, I was up in the suite one day with all these white guys. They want to take me hunting." And then Dave goes, "Well, geez, Rick, next time that happens, you call me, because you go hunting with a bunch of white guys you don't know, you may not come back." So he was funny. What's up?
You told that story a lot better than my mom. She was all over the place with that one. She tried. She was there.
She was there yesterday?
Yeah, she tried retelling that quote. Yeah.
So yeah, Dave.
She was all over the place with that one. I was like,
yeah.
"What the hell are you talking about, Mom?" She said like, he went to a party with all these white people. Then he went boar hunting.
So okay. Well, that's awesome. You should have told me Jenny was out there. I would say what's up. Yeah.
I thought I told you.
Nah.
That's the story of my life. Put that on my gravestone. I thought I told you.
But who else spoke? Sandy Alderson, the old A's GM who traded away Ricky only to bring him back. He had a great moment where he was like, at one point, I made Ricky Henderson the highest paid player in baseball. Imagine that in Oakland. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there were statements read from other teams. Like the A's had a statement. Actually, the Henderson family had a statement and wanted to thank John Fisher. And that moment, everybody booed in the crowd. And Rennell was like, "That's not today. That's not the day. You could do that tomorrow, but that's not the day, which I thought was well said.
Sure, but what do you expect?
No, of course, and that's the point she was making. She was like, you could feel that way 100%, but today's about Ricky. And Ken Griffey Jr. spoke. Gary Payton, right coming off of him talking shit to Kevin Durant. No, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was a great time. And it felt like I wasn't at the Willie Mays celebration of life. And I'm sure that was an awesome time. And the likes of Barack Obama sending in a message and Bill Clinton speaking. I'm sure that was, amazing and cathartic for a lot of Giants fans about like what that man meant to them. With Ricky, it's not so much the man, but what he meant for Oakland. And it was more a celebration, obviously, of Ricky, but it was kind of like an Oakland celebration. It was, this guy was one of our own. He was a guy you saw in the town, and like you heard stories like, oh, he's over there and he's over there in Oakland. And then he became something. I think like while Willie is synonymous with Giants baseball, it's not so much as much as Ricky's important to Oakland. Like Willie's not the same thing with San Francisco, if I'm making sense. Like that, I think kind of ran a little bit bigger with people from the area where they're like, Ricky was one of us. So that's what I thought of the whole event was. It was to celebrate Ricky the person, not the baseball player, what he meant to the city of Oakland. So it was awesome.
Yeah. No, my mom was telling me all about it. Obviously we were moving. I probably would have gone to the event, but we are moving here. So yeah, couldn't. Still shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, that he's gone. Yeah.
When you look back at that, it's like he's 65 and, you're 65 years old. It's just a lesson, I guess, that, make sure depending on how you're feeling, like, I don't know what happened, but, geez, just check up on your health, I guess, because you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Winfield spoke. Barry Bonds was there.
First one, wasn't he the first one?
Barry Bonds did not speak. Tony La Russa did not speak. Ken
Griffey Jr., right?
Ken Griffey Jr. did speak.
He did.
Yeah. No, he said a little something, but
my mom couldn't help but say he did put on a little weight.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah. I'm like, yes, Mom, that's what happens when you get old. Ken Griffey's not going to look like he did in 1998, Mom. It's just not how it works. No,
exactly. The guy that stole the show was Ricky's friend, Fred.
Yeah.
Fred Atkins. That's like his boy, his buddy from back in the day. Like I'm sure like he's just like part of Ricky's entourage. He came up wearing a bunch of 24s and I'll say this. Fred spoke a lot. He spoke for about 20 minutes. Could I tell you what he said? Not really. Couldn't understand him.
Really?
It was hard. But the man loved Oakland. The man loved Ricky. So it was awesome that he got a chance to speak. Like there's multiple times where Rennell went on the stage and was like going like close, like, okay, I need to take the mic away, but he just kept going. He's like, oh, I got one more story about Rick. Okay, all right. Before we get out of here, I wanted to say this. Brought this up a little bit on the show on Friday, but wanted to give a shout out to our guy Bonte Hill.
Oh yeah.
Bonte Bonte officially announced that he is leaving the Morning Roast, and truth be told, I think me and Steven knew about this for a little bit of time.
Well, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know this was happening at all. Like, I was just as surprised as anyone when it happened happened on Friday morning. Like, I was just told, I wasn't told details. I was just told you might want to listen at 9:20.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Truth be told, Bonte, we talked about it, and I didn't know when he was going to do it, but I knew he wanted to go full time to NBC. And he's got an awesome opportunity to do more TV. I mean, with NBC now being with the NBA, that's awesome. Maybe something comes down the line for him. But to do more Warriors coverage and do more Giants, to do more 49ers, my hat's off to Bonte. And I just think about our time together when we did the show, and I didn't know how it was going to be going from John Lund to Bonte, and my dad picked Bonte, and I'm glad he did, because that's one of my fondest memories working in radio, honestly. There were some times I know Bonte, I'm sure it wasn't fun to deal with me and my pops when I'm sure he felt like he was outnumbered. It was two papas against one. But no, I loved hanging out with Bonte, and we're still friends to this day. And even after I left and my pops left, he did his own thing, was on with Steiny and Guru for a little bit of time, and then went to the morning show and killed it at that. So my hat's off to him. And I said this on the show, but I'll just say it again. Like, when I got the opportunity to be on air, it was weird for me. And there was a lot of people that were happy for me, and there's a lot of people that were like, Derek doesn't deserve that. And there's a lot of people that were happy for me, former hosts that I work with, Rick Tittle, Steiny, Guru, Guy Haberman. But the person that had the most joy in their voice when I told them this was going down was Bonte. So that meant the world to me. So yeah, love Bonte. And shout out to our guy, Joe Spadoni, man, for taking that slide. I couldn't be happier for him. So
dude,
that's awesome.
It takes a lot of patience for Spadoni. Like, doing that shift every day in the morning when he's got a couple of kids isn't easy, but I kind of think it's proof in the industry. Like, if I've always I'm not going to act like I'm some, radio veteran, but I've been in for a little bit. I've been in it for a little bit now, and have people sometimes ask me sometimes if I meet someone who has a son or daughter that wants to get into sports media, they ask me kind of, if I had any advice, and I'm like, well, just, it's not terribly difficult to get into it, but sticking around is the hard part. And sometimes it's really, really hard to do that. So shout out to Spadoni for getting that gig. I mean, we'll have him on at some point in the future, but that's my dude. He came to you saw him. He came to the wedding. He was at the Friday celebration and everything. So couldn't be happier for him. And then as far as Bonte, man, I mean, this kind of story that you're telling is a similar story that you'll hear with a lot of people who have come in contact with Bonte, or at least have started working with him. He's usually extremely supportive of a lot, especially the younger people, like the younger people who are just getting in. Cause I think he knows when you're first starting out, you're like, can I hang with these people? Is this can I get in with the big dogs here? Like, this is sports radio, you know what I mean? But he kind of puts you at ease with that sort of thing. And he was always looking out for the younger crew that's just getting into it, because he knew what it was like. I think he was a board op at KBR and doing
Marty
Giants
Lurie.
games. He did this thing with Marty Lurie, yeah. And to now, Bonte has just become a really good friend, a really good person to me. I got those similar types of stories as you do. You go to Warriors games and you text him, hey man, I'm going to the Warriors game. Would love to meet up. And one time there was a couple of times actually, once where I was there just as a media member and had nothing going on after. So I just went into the gatehouse, I think is what they call it. And just hung out behind the camera because he let me in. You feel like VIP. He comes in and waves you over.
Yeah.
And then there's times where he introduced me to Festus and Mullen, and I remember he introduced me to Mullen, and he's like, hey Chris, this is the guy right here. This is the next guy. He's on the come up. This is the dude. And then Mullen's like, hey, Mike Breen got started doing sports radio. whatever he said. It's that was the coolest thing. But it was because of Bonte that he made that happen. And ever since he's taken over that TV gig, man, it's just been seamless. It really has. The guy was born to do this. I know he wanted to start out doing print journalism and stuff. Shout out to the water cooler man section that he had in I think it was the San Francisco State newspaper, is CSF. I think it was the Community College of San Francisco newspaper. He had the water cooler boy or something like that. And his mom came on the air and said, "I've been so proud of Bonte ever since he was the water cooler man at City College." Everyone's like, "You were the water boy?" It's like, "No, man, I did this thing in the newspaper." But knowing how much of a family-oriented guy he was, I'm sure that I didn't talk to him about it too much, but the TV and radio gig, doing both, had to have taken a toll. Like when he said that he hasn't been able to see Chesna for, 3 days a week or something like that, or only can see her 3 days a week, that kind of, that hit me a little bit. I was like, yeah, damn, you really do got to put yourself first in this business because you got to work a lot. You got to work hard to do it. And sometimes you might put work over your personal life, health, whatever. But I don't know. Couldn't be happier for him, man.
No, absolutely. And I mean, look forward to whatever he does next, and it's going to be on NBC and hopefully bigger and better things. But Bonte will always be Benita Hill to me. When he tried to get us at Cobb's Comedy Club, he got us a table, but they misspelled his name, and he thought he was like all cool. And then we saw the table, and he was like, "Damn, even here I'm Benita."
Didn't he work as like a security guard there? Wasn't he like a doorman or like a?
He was a doorman. Yeah, we talked about it. He was the first. We'll get him on again. Probably after Warrior season's done. We'll get Bonte on again, and we'll talk about when he came on the first time with us. He talked about how he was the doorman, and Dave Chappelle went on super late, and he would like tell the crowd like, "Oh, you guys are wimps. You don't want to wait for me." Bonte had to like break up fights, and sometimes the comedians would give the doormen drugs. It's like, "Hey, good job tonight, man. Here's some weed, maybe some coke. Here you go."
Jesus Christ. Man, we had him on the podcast in the early days.
Very first episode.
That was the very first episode.
Yeah.
Where are we at now? Like 298?
We're coming up on 300.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Should probably do something for that.
Yeah, we'll do something, and we got guests planned. Like Steven said, we tried to actually get Spadoni on today, but he had to take care of the kids. And we're going to try to do a round table, as I said before, with him and Alon Desai, just to go over the Raiders and everything. So we're planning on that. May do like a 49ers round table with our guys, Evan Giddings and Tommy Call. Mike Silver coming down the line in close to free agency time. So we'll announce all those dates when we get those confirmed up. But big things planned for the old J-Yam. Oh, yeah, by the way, we will do the second annual Jammies, where we give the Opiner of the Year, which last year Ernie One took home. We'll see if he wins it again. All right, that's all I got for today, guys. Still can't get over this Luka Doncic trade. We'll be back. Let's do Wednesday, Steven. Wednesday good for you? Middle of the week. Enough time.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do Wednesday.
By then I'll have a table built in an actual like little studio type thing. Hopefully, maybe in the office.
Ooh, and a little office in the meter. I like it. Yeah. We'll be back with you guys on Wednesday, the night before the trade deadline. We'll see if everything materializes for the Warriors at that point, and then we'll do a show on Saturday right before the Super Bowl to give you our picks and whatnot. So until that time, let me go through everybody that was in the chat tonight. We got a lot more people in. We had Ernie 1, Rock a New Era, Ernie 2, EB here. What's up, EB? I noticed him from the KMBR chat. Tacky, AJ Cruz. We had Skills Report in there, Jesse. We had, going Walter for a little bit, just say what's up, Hose. There was a couple of new faces in here, I want to say. Like a Raider fan that was in here. Sorry, I'm taking my sweet time here. Hold on. Gotta give everybody credit here. Hang on. The Reckoning. Yes, the Reckoning was here. And I think that's it. All right, guys.
It took me a millisecond to find that, Derek. Good God.
I'm sorry. I went from the top to bottom. It was the wrong way to go about that. Anyway, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Steven, say what you always say.
It's just our opinion, man.